Before we came up to the booth, last thing he said as we were walking off the field, I want to play mistake-free football. Well, that just went out the window there with a pick.
And do you remember what you said when we were walking up to the booth after he said that? Fatal last words. Every time we hear that, things tend to fall apart a little bit, and that's what we saw there. Didn't get enough on that throw, and it turned into an interception. They've got big smiles on their faces. He's handing out picks like the people just leave the candy out at Halloween, and you take what you want. They're having a blast out there playing against him today. And so much of today's football goes back to the old West Coast offense and scripting plays to start. Sometimes you script to attack. Sometimes you script to find out information. In this case, they got both. They attack for a big gain, and they have information that tells them we might want to come back to that play later. There's no question who they're going to look to on 3rd and long, but you can bet this defense knows that as well, so they've got him blanketed downfield. And this ball winds up being intercepted. Joe McCoy is one of the top defensive tackles in the league, always a threat to go to the Pro Bowl, especially because of his pass rushing ability.
And here's where I'm perfectly happy to defer to my analyst and let him analyze this one.
I don't get it.
That's the analysis?
That's the analysis. I don't get it. I mean, you're on the other side of midfield. Maybe. But a fake punt way down here? You want analysis? Ridiculous. I feel like there's a little extra juice when you see Jameis Winston connect with Mike Evans early, and when they do it often, this team is really energized.
Evans at 6'5", those long arms, it's so tough to defend.
And he surprises you with how fast he is because he looks like he's just loping along, and all of a sudden you're 10 yards behind him, and Jameis Winston finds him. Gerald McCoy is always going to be linked with Ndamukong Suh. They came into the NFL in the same draft class. There was a lot of debate about who was going to be the better defensive tackle. They just do it two different ways. McCoy, more movement, elusiveness, that allowed him to make the play there for a short gain.
So a good kick that time, and that might help to get the negative thoughts out of the mind from that earlier block.
Especially since this was not a chippy, so he had to get that one out kind of low, but his line does a nice job of protecting. He's able to convert for 3. The standard speech is to treat the game like it's tied, but when you have an advantage, they also tell you, make sure you don't get your foot off the gas. Message received. I'm rubbing my eyes after that play. Did we just see that runner not get yardage? A big-time play by the defense. It does happen occasionally, even against the best running backs who are having big days. But we always hear about the connections some quarterbacks have with certain receivers. I think this guy has a connection with just about everyone. Didn't mind throwing it in there against double coverage to him.
Show some confidence.
Big-time confidence that he would make the play for him, and he did. And right now I take my rudimentary kindergarten draw where the box would be because that was close. I thought he was in the box. He has to be very careful where he gets rid of the football from that spot.
Yeah, they say there was a receiver in the area, though.
There's always a receiver in the area.
There was a lot of zip on that pass, and baseball might have called that a frozen rope.
I like it when you bring the diamond into the game. I'm going back to the gridiron. Had some heat on that bad boy. Sometimes you throw a touchdown pass.
You throw, what, a touchdown strike?
That's my man, in concert.
And he takes it in for the score on the game's final play, so it doesn't affect the outcome, but a little whipped cream on top to their ending.
Or as our friends in Bayou Country would say, that's a little lagniappe, a little extra on top. That's called being in the zone.